Good morning, family. I know it's been a rough few days. I know many of you feel all kinds of ways. Sad, despondent, anxious, fearful even. I get it. But there is an answer, and there is a purpose. I have shared with people for many years that nature is the blueprint. If you do not understand yourself, if you do not understand what's happening to you, if you do not understand the world at large, spend time in nature. 5 minutes of silent stillness is worth all of the sermons in the world when you're in nature. Now, I know it looks dreadful, and to some extent, in all fairness, it is going to be dreadful. But I'm going to invite you right now as you watch this video, I'm going to invite you to raise your view, heighten your perspective. Down here in the midst of the chaos, yes, it can seem futile and hopeless and frightening. But if you just levitate your awareness a few feet off the ground, there is a larger landscape to view. There is a wider reality. And I'm going to break that down to the best of my ability right now in this video and give you every answer as to how to navigate this broader landscape. We as humans, we have a long history, but we have a very short memory. We have been here as some version of our species for almost 300,000 years. That's a long time. And if we look back, to be quite frank, and as dark as it may sound, and yet it is not dark, it is nature, it is natural, it is the whole point of this reality here on the earth plane. We have been a dark force in the world. Humanity has a default setting. And I know we were all brought up to believe that people are inherently good and evil is kind of the aberration. That is not the case. We have always been dark. This experience here is meant to be dark because ultimately what we are is light. We are infinite, vibratory, energetic beings of light energy. That's what we are. Now, this video is not going to be for everybody, so if I just lost you, that's okay. If you're still here, you are energy. I am energy. Where we come from, the primary energy, knows exactly what's happening and has a plan. There's a plan. We are all part of this grand plan. I am going to take you to a very specific example in nature of what it is we are currently living here in America and on planet Earth because, I know we like to pretend we're the epicenter of the universe, we here in America, but there's an entire world that actually has been going through what we're about to go through here in America. The rest of the world's been going through it for a very long time. In the parts of the world where there is democracy. So you got to remember, we live on this floating ball of water, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen with societies that believe that the age of consent for a little girl is 9 years old. We live in societies where women can't drive and cannot be educated. We live in a world with cultures where covering a woman from head to toe is natural, and she willingly puts that costume on to hide herself from her own life. So realize, we're dark. We're dark. Light is intentional. If you live in light, it's because you chose it. It doesn't happen by accident, is what I'm trying to express. So going back over 300,000 years, if you look at the spiral of existence, because everything in life is patterns, the Fibonacci sequence is woven into every single thing, so too is it woven into the greater cosmos. You have to remember, if you go out even just beyond our atmosphere, we are a speck in a vast, ever-expanding universe. I know it feels like all this shit that happened this week matters. And to the degree that it does in our day-to-day life, sure, it matters. But in the grand scheme of real reality, this is just a VR game. This is just, I call it the Chaos Carnival. We are here in this darkness as light beings to go on every ride, to experience every emotion, to have every single scenario that we create play out in front of us. And if you think that Donald Trump is not the mirror staring back at the whole of our country, you're not paying attention. We are in a time of contraction. All of life, all of existence, even the fabric of the universe is repeating patterns of expansion and contraction. The earth itself has been through 6 cataclysms. And we are about to go through a paradigm shift. It's been foretold. Other cultures, other times, other peoples have believed that there was an end of days, a final reckoning. I know it's not easy to hear, but there's a brighter dawn coming after, because here's the deal. You don't build a new house on top of an old house, right? And what's about to happen is going to happen quickly. And I'm going to take you to a very specific example in nature. Again, nature is the blueprint. If you want to understand what's happening, find the experience in nature. I promise you it's there. So when we look at the death of a star in the cosmos, there is a very long period of very bright burning, and to be quite frank, we have lived on planet Earth through this reality for the most beautiful time in human history. Before 100, 150 years ago, life was hard. Life was so hard. Again, we have a long history, but short memories. Remember, children worked in factories 10, 12 hours a day. People struggled to heat homes and feed their children. Yes, similarly to the way we do today, but that is economic. These people were living in such challenging times because of famine. Because I am not even going to edit this video, by the way. This is a straight shoot. Because of famine, because of the Dust Bowl in the early 20th century here in America. Like, people have lived through hardships that had nothing to do with the fact that we live in a consumerist culture. We embrace capitalism, and capitalism has its winners and its losers. And unfortunately, the scale is very, very tipped towards the winners. So that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. I'm not going to get off on that tangent. But we have lived in a world of duality for a very long time. This is the reality of the 3D world. We live in a dualistic society, high and low, right and wrong, rich and poor, man and woman, blue and red, black and white, right? So that duality has served its purpose. We've actually outlived our ability to live in duality, because the way in which our darkness has spiraled out of control, we actually are attacking our host. We actually live on a planet that we are in the process of trying to destroy with our very best efforts. And if you look at the planet's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to take care of you folks. We're going to have earthquakes in New York City, and we're going to have E3 tornadoes ripping through Florida, while at the same exact time there's a hurricane landing. Like, yeah, it's getting crazy, people. Asheville, North Carolina was practically wiped off the map by a hurricane. Who'd have thunk it? So we are living at a time where I compare it to the death of a star. When a star dies, it implodes in on itself. It contracts to a point where it gets so hot and so uncomfortable, it eventually bursts out into what's called a supernova. And that is light. And that throws beneficial particles out across the universe in every single direction. And for thousands of years, there is light, and there is plenty, and it is equally distributed across the vast swath of everything that surrounds it. I am here to tell you today, we are there. We are in the death throes of the end of duality. It is going to get really dark. It is going to get really hot for a very brief time. The death of a star happens quickly. It is the end of 2024. By the end of 2026, we are going to be out of duality and living in singularity. We are going to be living in a world where unity and equity and peace abound. I believe this with my whole heart and soul. I understand this for reasons I won't get into in this video right now, but I want to share with you. I don't just want to give you the news. I want to give you the answer. There is an answer. It's not mine. I didn't make it up. There was a song in 1979 that came out. I was about 10 years old. And I grew up in the city of brotherly love, so maybe I'm a little biased. But there was a song called Love is the Answer by England Dan and John Ford Coley. Love is the answer. I'm here to give you an answer today. Wipe your tears. Turn your frown upside down. Keep your chins up. And love. Love. There's no enemy. The Tao Te Ching says, the enemy you perceive is a shadow you yourself cast. One of the major tenets in the work I do is there are no others, there are only mirrors. We get what we need, not necessarily what we want. Love. Love the MAGA hat. Love the BLM t-shirt. Love the pride flag. Love the Republican neighbor. Love your conservative aunt and uncle. Embrace these people. It's what we all need, quite frankly. We find ourselves here because there's not enough light. And to usher in this new reality, we need light. We need light workers. We need light beings. We need you. The earth itself needs you right now to turn on your heart light. Another song from my childhood. Because it's the only way. It's the only way forward. Being angry, causing more derision, dividing ourselves even more deeply, more starkly than we have been for years and years and years. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. People say, oh, this is the most divided we've ever been. Hello? We had a civil war in this country. Family raised up arms against family to fight for the right to own a human being. Yeah, talk about darkness. People say, oh, it's horrible now. We're so dark. We've always been dark. We've always been dark. The light has to be intentional. The light is not the accident. I take that back. The light is the accident. Darkness is the default. We have to choose light. We have to welcome it in. And as uncomfortable as it may be for a very, very short period of time, we have to love those whom we believe are against us. Because at the end of the day, we're all pink on the inside. There is no us and them. There's just this connected oneness of we. And we can't teach people that if we don't show people that. It doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. It matters what you do. So go out into the world today with your chins up and a smile on your face. And let the whole wide world know that yes, it's going to get dark for a little while, we know. But the darkness is necessary. A star burns out so dramatically, so quickly, and turns so dark, only to ultimately turn around and glow so brightly and share every aspect of itself with everything in its environment. That's what's happening. Love is the answer. Be that, and you will experience that. That's what I have for you today. You are so seen. You are so loved. Oh.